if you knew you were enough? What would your life look like? What would love look like? This is the Enough Factor broadcast, where we're redefining what makes you enough in life and in love. Now here's your host, Suzette Virnon. It's your host, Suzette Virnon, and thank you for tuning into Season 2 of the Enough Factor podcast. Each week we bring you compelling content that challenges your beliefs about who you are so you can write an authentic definition. Of all the podcasts and voices you could have tuned into at this moment, you decided to stop by and tune into mine. Thank you. If this is your first time, this podcast is about redefining what makes you enough in life and in love, and is founded upon 3 critical factors. I call them 3 critical factors of enoughness, and they are your voice, your value, and your vision. To delve more deeply into those factors, I encourage you to check out Season 1's very first episodes. And while you're at it, go on and binge listen, because you'll be glad you did. So now here we are at Season 2. And with Season 2, we are up-leveling our message from enough to more than enough. And to help us to do that is none other than my pearlicious sister, Terry Spicer. Let me tell you a little bit about Terry. You heard her in the background. Well, she is a successful global publicist, entrepreneur, community change agent, speaker, and author. Terry is CEO of Epiphany Public Relations, LLC. That's Terry's signature PEARLS program, which stands for Preparing Elegant and Ready Leaders for Success. And it is an awesome leadership development program for girls between the ages of 7 and 17, and also a movement that is taking off on college campuses around the country as she delivers a deliberate curriculum because she feels a firm commitment to develop powerful student leaders forward. She is the founder and executive director of the Sisters Inspiring Sisters Incorporated, the SISI, a 501c3 charity that provides transportation assistance to cancer patients for medical appointments, chemo and radiation towards survivorship. That's what we want. The SISI has helped 1,188 cancer patients in 100 of 100 counties, excuse me. So I say countries. Well, look, maybe I'm prophesying. In North Carolina and 16 states. She's a committed member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and was appointed co-coordinator of the 26th South Atlantic Regional Conference. Y'all, Terry ain't playing with us, but what simply endears Terry to me is her gracious attitude and her indomitable spirit. She's my quote unquote big sister pearlicious one. And I am edified by her presence in my life and in the world. I feel it an honor that we get to spend life together. So please join me in welcoming Terry Spicer to Enough Factor podcast. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be with you this afternoon. So thank you. Thank you.
I'm honored to have you as my guest. I tell you, when I thought of Season 2, you were on my list.
Hey, I'm glad to be there.
Because you know what I love about you too is that you are the epitome of not being satisfied with just being ordinary when you know you were built for extraordinary. And I see that in everything that you do. And so where does that come from? That indomitable big personality, spirit in the world, just taking the world by storm. Whatever God gives you, you give it back to him just in spades. Where does that come from?
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. When I was a little girl, I grew up in the projects in Wilmington, North Carolina. Hillcrest was the name of the projects. And back then, it was a neighborhood of mothers looking out the windows at each other's children. There was a net of safety and protection. But in that insulation was also a net of affirmation and a foundation built where they made me believe that I would touch the stars. I remember on one particular conversation, I was just a little girl, and I used to love to sit out every night and look up at the stars. And one night, we live in a duplex. My mom was in the door on the left looking, and my godmother was in the door on the right looking. And my godmother came to the door and she said, "Those stars that you look up at every night, we're going to look up there, baby, and see you. We're going to see you. We're going to see your name. We're going to see your actions up there in the stars." And I turned around. I remember turning around to look at her, and I embraced that conversation and I held it. I just held it in my heart. And I was just crazy enough to believe all of the love and the incredible comments, and again, the affirmations that my mother and my grandmother, my aunt, my godmother, and certain women in the community and educators and church members. There were so many people that have poured into my life over the years, as a child growing up, that again, I really believed what they said, and I took it to heart in the things that I have been able to do. And that is really truly why my Small Pearls program is so very important to me, because it's about building and bridging leadership and belief and affirmation, in themselves, like it was done for me. So really, truly, Suzette, that really is where the foundation of who I am today came from. It really is.
You came from dreamer women.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing was, these women, I can remember very early on, my mom walked down the street, to her job. I can remember my godmother catching a ride to her job. I'm talking about coming up on a whole lot of love, but the richness of who we were and who we were taught to be. Like I said, I grabbed hold of all of their dreams. And it's an honor for me to rise every single day, working in all that I do and all that I say, trying to honor and lift their dreams right along with mine. Yep.
When I listened to that, because you've never really shared that story with me to that extent. And I'm so honored, even more so, because, a lot of people feel like because of their circumstances, they define themselves by what they didn't have. I didn't have a color TV. I know for a long time we had the black and white and the hanger in the back, but I didn't know there was anything wrong with it. I just thought that was just the way it worked. But I love the fact that even in situations where it might have been very simplistic, or you might not have had what the Joneses had, that your mom and your godmother and the people that were around you defined themselves by something more than what they had.
Yeah, and it's important because, again, in this day and time, let's fast forward. Kids, with the internet, they get things in real time. They get things just like right now. We didn't have the access that they have now, and so it's really truly important that we still help to bridge tradition forward. So that's really where I am. In that particular link, I'm a progressive-minded woman, and in all levels of my life, but the traditional values, I'll never get away from them. I will never, ever get away from them, because, again, those values are wrapped up in in God. They're wrapped up in Christian principles. They're wrapped up in being more than or reaching further than they felt they could reach. So my reach is just an extension of where I came from and a bridge, into the next. So that's my mindset, always next level exceptional. And that's what I teach my girls, that exceptional is their normal, because that's how I was raised. I was built to be exceptional. I was built to be, peculiar. Like you said, we're strange fish.
Yes.
And I take pride, honor in being that strange fish, part of that pool of being peculiar, because even the Bible speaks about being peculiar. And I love it when somebody says, "Oh, you're different." Thank you. Thank you. And that's why. Yeah.
Oh, that is so good, because so many people are trying to fit in. And I'll admit, for a long time, I felt very isolated and was trying to figure out, where did I fit? Where did I fit? Where did I fit? And no matter where I was, I just, you would have glimmers of, okay, I fit in this way, or I feel like I do. But then when you get involved, it's like, oh, wait a minute. No, I was mistaken. I don't fit. I don't fit here. How were you able to hold on to that? Because of course we're women, and we're women of color, and we both been recently celebrated being in our 60s. Woo, 60. And so we've seen some things, and we've had to overcome some things. So how were you able to keep that vision of yourself, even with having to, navigate the limitation, the limiting beliefs people had about people that look like us?
Girl, it's been a journey, and especially early on in my career, of me trying to convince others. I in the very early part of my career, it seemed like I was always the only African American in the group. I don't know what that was all about, but I was always trying to convince others of the skills that I had, of seeing the value of Terry Spicer, seeing me. And what I realized very early on is that they saw the value in the outcomes of what I produced, but they didn't see me. So it was really, truly important. Yeah. All of this revelation here today is really important. It's crazy. They saw my skill sets, and they desired my the things that I helped toward the outcomes being successful, but they didn't value me. I can remember in particular a couple of guys that were in one of the groups I worked with, oh, you just have these soft skills. What you're contributing is not very important. And I remember just fighting to be heard, fighting to be seen, but at the same time, fighting to hold on to who I was and what I brought to the table, knowing that I was enough, that's what we're talking about. I was enough, but always it felt for a season being minimized by them. And then again, for me, I stood, flat-footed in confidence the entire time because I had to, or they would have broken my spirit. And I refused to let that happen. So my journey hasn't been an easy one all these years. It hasn't been. But I remember vividly fighting to hold on to those dreams and the ones that were shared with me growing up, the ones that I had. And I just felt in my heart that those stars, were still following me up there in the sky, and that God was still guiding me, and that my day would come. So I kept holding on through the years, through the disappointments, through the glimmers of success, through the doubts, through, the winds that certainly dared to try to knock me down. But I continued to stand flat-footed in confidence. I'm gonna get a shirt with that on it. I like that.
I like that. Or in your words, write that down.
Write that down. Look, write that down. But it was important because I'm telling you, it would have been easy to be lost in their sauce, and I refuse to do that. I refuse.
Girl, oh, you're talking my language, because I think with us both being Capricorns, that it seems to be a common story of feel like you have to fight to be heard, and fight to hold your sense of self together. And I think one of the things that I have loved so much in watching you, just the moments that I've had the privilege of just watching you just be yourself in the world, is a lot of people who've had to fight, when you're around them, they talk very low vibration. Well, girl, you know the devil busy. Girl, you know life is hard. Girl, you know.
Yeah.
And it just gets under my skin. And it's so
Yes.
wonderful to be with a person that, even though we have that common experience of having to fight, to hold on to who we are, fight through the naysayers, sometimes fight with the naysayers in our own heads so we can get clear and hear our own voice again, that there is a high vibration. However, whenever I'm around you, I never feel like I'm being pulled down, or I never leave your presence feeling like, oh God, I'm glad that's over, because Lord, I'm depressed now. I think I need to go by the bar and get me a drink. You know, I don't feel that when I've been around you. Even when we talk about the difficulties of life, there is always still that optimism. That's it. That spirit of optimism that surrounds your conversation. And I don't know if you realize that, but it is something I experience with you, and I treasure that.
Thank you.
Treasure that.
Thank you. You know, because life is hard enough, and I've had to learn to stop carrying other folks' stuff, because again, and two, it's important that we guard what, you know, we listen to, what we want to be around. You know, it gets old, and some folk, when they get stuck in these holes, what they really want to do is pull you down into them with them. You know, misery loves company. You know what? I'm not that girl. I'm not your girl. I'm not your girl, and I am not sharing in, you know, especially after I've given you some level of affirmation and some seed of help, you know, from my perspective, and your story is the same one, and you're singing the same thing again and again, you know, your time is gone. It's over. It's done. Limited. I can't, because it's just too much to do, and those are distractions, and I just cannot carry the burden of someone else's stuff. I refuse to do that anymore. So yeah, I had to learn. I had to learn to limit what I listen to, girl. I had to learn. Stop it. So
I know that's right, because for so long, and I know, I can imagine this happens to you as well. And I think at 60, I'm at a point now where it's no longer a issue. I'm okay with people falling away. I wasn't always. I was a middle girl. So for me, I was very independent, but because I didn't feel like I was where I didn't feel I belonged, I was constantly searching for a home in people. Where is my home? Where is my tribe? Where is my sisterhood? Where is that place for me? And so I went into relationships, and a lot of relationships that I had early on where people are attracted to something in you. Maybe you carry a magnetism, you carry that confidence, they like being around you because you talk high level, because you have an agenda, you have an indomitable spirit, and that draws people. But it took a while for me to understand that just because people were drawn to me did not mean they were my tribe, they were my person.
Yeah. Yes.
And it would become very disappointing how many people, I think I've had to walk away from more people than have walked away from me, because it got so painful. I felt like I was being, like somebody had me in an emotional chokehold. And I couldn't fly, but I felt guilty, because it's like, well, at least they want you. At least they need you. At least they want you. At least they're pulling on you. But I never needed to be needed in that sense of, you know, some people just love that. I never really needed that in that sense. I think I felt like I owed them because they wanted me. And
Mm-hmm.
I owed them to try to give it a chance, to give it the old college try, to be
Mm-hmm.
there for the 2 o'clock in the morning phone calls. And I'm thinking, oh
Mm-hmm.
gosh, and I would be like wrestling myself because I'm thinking, you're not a good friend.
Right, right,
Because
right.
you don't have the patience, the tolerance, the whatever. And I wrestled with
Mm-hmm.
that for a very long time. Do you have that? Do you find that, or did you have to go through that phase where it was like felt like people were kind of clinging to you, and you were kind of like, oh, this is
Mm,
hard.
mm, mm. And and the answer to that question is certainly. I'm certain that most of us in this world have been through that, like you said, because you're looking for validation and you're looking for confirmation, and most of the time the confirmation didn't come because they weren't the right ones, and that's why I've had to learn to sift and shift and let them just fall right on away. Like you said, I um people will hold on to your skirt tail. I wrote a book, Lessons from Her Skirt Tail. And
Yes.
talk about people riding your coattail. Well, my skirt tail girl, I learned to shake that thing. I learned to I wasn't gonna be dragging folk along with me. I decided, because again, it was too heavy. And for me, I had to learn to say no. Like
Mm.
you, if they asked me, I felt obligated. I felt obligated because, and for a little while, it was, oh gosh, they want me, so I've got to say yes. And this
Yeah.
feels good, needed, and this feels good being seen, and this feels so great. But what I realized is that I was being used for my mind, for the skill sets that I brought a lot of the time, and I was getting pats on the back and thank yous while they were marching straight to the bank. Okay, straight to the bank. And this is the epiphany that I had. That's why my agency is Epiphany Public Relations. I had that blazing light bulb moment that I was starring in someone else's dreams and not my own.
Oh, girl, that's tweetable. Oh, I was starring in
Look,
somebody else's dreams
yeah,
and not
yeah,
my
and I
own.
not
Woo!
my own. I wrote a blog years ago. Whose dream are you starring in? And what I realized is that I was sitting on, my dreams were the parade. Look, the parade was going on, but my dreams were sitting on the sideline, cheering as everybody else, went on about things and continuously being left behind. So I realized in that epiphany, that light bulb blazing moment of destiny, that ding, 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 ding. Come on, Terry. Stop being left behind. Stop, working harder for everybody else but yourself.
Mm.
Really, truly. I was an Academy Award winner in everybody else's dream. I really
You,
was.
I know that's right.
I quit it. I quit
I
it.
like to
I
thank the
quit it.
Academy. I thank the Academy.
Yeah, I want to thank the Academy for helping her, helping him, helping them acquire their success while I'm standing over here flat footed and totally unsatisfied and incomplete and unfulfilled.
Mm.
That had to stop because
Yeah.
I saw that they were taking all of my strong desire and will and focus for their own good and didn't care anything about my dreams. And so when I had that moment, I started my own agency, Epiphany Public Relations LLC, and I decided, because God said, look, he didn't make us to be anybody's footstools anyway. It,
Mm-hmm.
it was it was that I was allowing myself to be used that way because, again, I felt validated because somebody was saying, you're so wonderful and I see you. When actually, like I said earlier, they didn't see Terry. They saw the results that they desired, being successful. They saw that I was helping them, acquire, the outcomes that they wanted. But Terry Spicer, in that process, was totally unfulfilled. After a while, it got old, and I realized that I needed to, God reminded me, I gave you all of who you are, all of what you have, and it's to be used for your greater good. And once I grabbed and I reminded myself of the incredible affirmations of my board of pearls, that's what I call my women. I remember all of those things that they told me. Those stars, baby, they're going to see you. And it was just like, okay, Terry, you've allowed yourself to get lost in their sauce. You got to pull this back. You got to pull it back. And when I did, girl, oh my gosh, freedom came like you would not believe. Freedom, the liberty of me, the liberty of standing flat-footed in confidence and believing in myself for my own benefit. That was a freedom that I desired. I guess I had forgotten about for a little while, or I allowed it to, like I said, be sitting on the other side of the curve while I was helping everybody else. But once I grabbed hold of those dreams and pulled them back into the priority where God intended for them to be, and I saw myself and I was able to look at myself straight in the mirror and affirm myself, the liberty that God blessed me with, oh my gosh, I haven't looked back since.
Girl,
I am enough.
You are
enough.
More than enough, child. More.
Ooh, enough. Come on now.
Because I think the more part is when you're unapologetic. Because a lot of times we can strive and we can do that, but it's almost like there's something inside of you that says, well, yeah, but don't be so happy about it, because then it makes it seem like you're trying to, but I think more than enough means I will refuse to apologize for doing everything that God put in me to do to the best of my ability. Because when I shine, He's shining.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And the other thing about that, if people would understand that your glow is a compliment to their glow, let me write that down.
Girl, we on fire today. Come on now. Come on.
Yeah, it's a compliment to their glow. I got to write that down. I'm gonna tweet that. It's a compliment to their glow. When people will really truly realize that, so much more can be done. And the affirmation that my small pearls will tell you, I've got 7 and 8 and 9-year-old little girls that will tell you exceptional is their normal without apology. That is the mantra. My small pearls are being built as leaders. Small pearls lead. I'm helping to build and bridge leaders. And again, it just goes back to the mantra of what my board of pearls instilled in me. And the lessons over these 6 decades that I've been blessed to live, I've learned incredible lessons. And I'm grateful for every rejection. I'm grateful for every inconvenience, because it's added to the total sum of this unapologetic signature pearl who stands here today, not in any level of arrogance at all. And I'm going to stop saying that part of it as well, because again, those people that know me, I try to show them the best of my heart. That is a service for God. I'm a servant of God. And, but I stand flat-footed in confidence, without apology, because, I am a king's kid, and, God expects for us to live up to these incredible, dreams and goals and visions that He places in us. We're not smart enough to wake up on our own and have these goals and have these dreams and visions. But I'm, like you said, I'm one of the strange fish like you, the peculiar, who have learned to step up and step out without fear, without reservation, without hesitation, and into the realm of, because God said it, it's so. I believe that firmly. God, if He tells me right now to go out here and do something, Suzette, I promise you, I'm going to go do it. As soon as I hang up, I'm going to figure out how to get it done, because again, He's gracious that way. And I'm just honored that He believes in me, and He trusts me. God trusts me. He trusts you. Yeah. And that's an amazing honor to have. So I try to walk worthy of it. That's all. That's all. That is it. But
I'm
yeah, but
telling
that's
you,
it.
and I love it because whenever I hear you and whenever I see you, it's like it gives anybody, if you've ever struggled with whether you should be great or not, just being around you, just it causes a person to square their shoulders, and without you even trying, you evoke great out of people. You
Wow, thank you.
truly, truly do. And I don't know if anybody ever told you that was your superpower, but I'm telling you, you evoke it. You evoke it. And I heard something this morning. I have a tendency sometimes to look at YouTube when I can't find anything else to look at. Now look at something inspiring, uplifting, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard somebody say something that I felt like you epitomized, and that is investing in your purpose. Because one of the things that I see that's happening around, especially in this social media age, is people seem to be investing in the look of success, or try to invest in looking like they're purpose driven or purposeful or mission driven. But what I see with you is that there's an investment in purpose, just like you were just saying. If God told me to go do so and so and so, everything in me would do everything I can to figure out how to get it done. That's when you truly embrace purpose.
Yes.
Because that's not flashy and it's not popular. That's usually done in obscurity. And to me, that really lets you know if people are purpose driven. It is your daily practice. It's what you do when nobody's looking at you. It's what you do. It's an attitude of your heart toward the integrity of the calling on your life and the purpose that you serve. And
well, thank you. You know, my favorite scripture is Habakkuk 2:2-3, and it's hopefully people know it. And what I love inside of that is when the Lord said, "Write the vision and make it plain upon tables." And then come on over a little bit further into 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it. And as I pause right there in the 3rd verse, as God is telling us, though it tarry, wait for it, as he's saying to wait for it, God is also telling us to work for it. He said it's for an appointed time and it shall speak and not lie. So he just told us that it's going to happen. I've given write it out. Yeah, you've got all the tools, but as you wait for it, you've got to work for it. And then at the last part of verse 3, it says, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Well, that verse right there, those 2 scriptures right there, for me, God has said very clearly, write the vision, look, that I gave you, okay? And then as he said, it's for an appointed time. That's after you've done all of the work, you put in, the efforts, the research, to get set up and not lie. He says, so it is so because I said so. Though it tarry, it's going to take some time, wait for it, which just simply means though it's tarrying, as you work for it, God says at the end, for it will surely come. It will not tarry. So after you've put in all the work, after you've done all the things that you need to do, you got your business set up, you're ready to rock and roll. You've gone through endless nights of, that have turned into more endless nights and days and nights that you've gone without sleep. And, you've gone through, some level of support and a whole lot of, people that didn't support you or didn't appreciate what you were doing and try to get you to turn the other way. But there it is in plain readership that God says it will surely come, it will not tarry. So all of those winds that have dared to try to knock me down, I just push back, because what continues to drive me is that God says it will surely come, it will not tarry. I hold on to he said it. I didn't make that up. I just get what God is saying to us in those 2 scriptures, and they resonate in every single thing that I do and say every single day. God told me, come on, Terry, go ahead, keep working, girl. It's going to come. Keep working, Terry. Those zeros are going to come into the census coffers, and you're going to be able to hire a big team, and you're going to be able to branch beyond 16 states. Come on, Terry. Keep pushing. You're going to build, the Small Pearls program a whole lot bigger, and it's going to become a national conference for girls. Come on, Terry. Keep doing all the things that you're doing. Epiphany Public Relations has taken you here and there. And come on, Terry. All those skill sets that I put into you, use them for my glory. Come on, Terry. All of these things that you desire, because I said I would give you the desires of your heart. Come on, Terry. Keep pushing. Keep persevering. Keep standing against the winds that are trying to knock you down, because truly realize, Terry, my wind is beneath your wings. And though it tarry, it will surely come. Come on here now.
Come on here now.
Come on here now. Come on. So that's why I rise every single day. And dawn is the most beautiful moment of the day for me, because as night edges and is lost into the beauty of a new day, it's in that moment that I see, and I can visually see it, but I also feel God's grace, just saying, okay, here's a new day, new opportunity. Whatever happened yesterday is a plus toward today, whether it was good, bad, indifferent, but you made it through that thing. And so you're still standing today. So come on, rise in the newness of this day with opportunity, believing that you're a step closer. So that's how I process. That's how I think. And when I get the opportunity to stand up on another day, just one more day. Come on, just one more day. God has blessed me with just one more day. Girl, I'm going to run in it until I just run out of gas. You hear me? I'm going to keep on running and keep on running strategically and purposefully and deliberately. But I'm going to keep running because God has said it will surely come.
It will surely come. And that's the piece. I was talking to some people that came to Confront Your Valley seminar last month. And one of the things that the high achievers in the room had to admit was, we first said, how many of us are believers? Hands went up. Mm-hmm. I said, isn't it interesting that a lot of believers don't really believe?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you talked with great resonance and with great conviction that what God said, I believe it. Mm-hmm. And I hear that in you. I've heard that in Oprah. What God said, I believe it. And it's interesting because when we were sitting talking, we realized that a lot of our running toward the goal, a lot of our high achievement was because we did not believe and felt like we had to compensate for it. But what you're presenting is a completely different thing. It's turning it inside out. It's like, because I believe, that's why I'm running. That's the difference. Because I believe.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That's why I'm running. That's why I give it everything I got. Not because I'm trying to convince God of something, but because I am soaring on the wind. I'm soaring on the wind. The wind is beneath my wings. I'm not trying to flap my wings against contrary winds. But the winds are what's lifting me and propelling me and pushing me forward.
Yes, absolutely. And what's beautiful in that is, let me flip this on you, is seeing you come from that place of, I remember when we sat down and we talked years ago, and you had this spark about you, and I felt it. God is deliberate. That's my favorite word.
Yes.
And He placed us both at that event on that particular day, and all I was bringing a voice of affirmation straight from Him to you. And I mean, when I looked up, you were all, she's written books, she's doing this, she's doing that. You better come on now, Suzette. You took hold of that thing and you believed it. You believed it.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
believed it. And because you believed it, you stepped out. And the world for you, the freedom that I'm speaking about, you found your own freedom in believing and trusting completely. Like you said, a lot of us believe, but a lot of people they say it and they think it, but they don't really believe, not 100%. They're not sold out. They can claim it all day long, but when it comes to leveling up and putting your actions where your voice is, for some people that's difficult. And and I get that. But again, these strange fish, us,
we be
us,
strange. We be
girl,
strange.
we be strange. But you took off and you kept going and you kept growing, and then you got engaged and now you're married and you're still going and you're still growing. So the admiration that you have for me, I equally have that for you, because it's been a pleasure to watch you just grow and come fully into your own. And I'll never forget that song, that sweet song that you sang to me that night. I just, at my launch of the sister, you've been here from the beginning. When we had the event over at the Sheraton, you sang that song to me that night. I will never forget how sweet that was, and I held on to that as well. So hey, we snatching 60, girl. Come on now. So we've been through the fire. Okay, come on. We've been through the fire, but we've learned so much, and that's why it's important now for us to pay it forward and to share and to stand flat-footed in confidence, trusting God and knowing and knowing. And KNOWING and knowing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I know when you were talking about it, it hit me exactly what happened. It was because in a place where I did not feel found, in a place where I felt obscure, in a place that I felt lost and isolated, God sent you. He came through you to me. When I couldn't get to him, he sent you to me. And that encounter, the reason that is one that I will never, ever forget. There will never be an expiration date on my gratitude for that, because God came and found me. He found me in a little conference room in a Salvation Army around women who were down on their luck, had gone through difficulty. And I'm sitting there, one among them. It might not have looked that same way, but I was going through a similar situation where I felt lost. I felt invisible. I felt like a shell walking around. I felt like I didn't fit. I didn't understand where I was at. I was in an utterly dark place where I didn't understand. Nothing that I'd ever been taught was working for me in that place. And I was praying, but it felt like it was just hitting the air. Like God wasn't hearing me, and I was still trapped in my own sadness. And when you walked in that door, just your very presence, what you said, and you spoke to me, and you spoke who I was, that my heart recognized. Something inside of me changed even before I was fully aware of it. That began my ascent back out of that dark place. And I just thank God that there have been different dark places in the levels, because things kind of go cyclic, but you just go up higher. They go cyclic and you go higher. And I've had other situations where I have felt like, God, where are you? I don't quite get it. Why am I here? I don't hear you. I don't know where I am. But it's never been to that degree of darkness, because I've gone through that. I always know light is coming. I always know, no matter what dark corridor I go through, God's going to get me out. And I think that's the thing. Once you've had an experience where God got you out, where God did something for you, came to meet you, did something for you that no one else could do in a way that no one else could understand. it changes that dynamic from unbelief to
Mhm.
belief.
Yes, yes, yes,
You
yes.
know?
And that's how he is. He is so deliberate. And,
Hmm.
what I've learned to do in that, and I receive that from you, and I thank you for that. Before my feet touch the ground, even as my eyes have opened into the newness of the next day, the new day, I pray, God, wherever you want me to go, however you want me to speak, however the interaction, the dialogue, the engagement, whatever it is, may it honor you and may it bless and impact. That's my prayer. Again, that's just one of my affirmations of the newness of day. And that day when I met you, I saw your smile, but I felt there was something behind that smile. I didn't ask God what, I didn't need to ask any questions, but He gave me the words that I used to give to you to affirm you that particular day. So, I'm always praying, God, let my light shine so that again the world sees all of who you are and not Terry Spicer, not me. So in that moment, Terry disappeared. And I'm just loving all of this. I got to write all this down. And but I just love it when God allows um, the words to come and impact and touch and help change forward. An enhancement to the greatness that was already there in you. I just did a little shaking, a little shifting, a little, sifting, and I just woke you up a little bit because all of who you are was already there. You just needed me to nudge you. That's all it was. God sent me to nudge you and say, girl, believe, girl, come on, wake up to this thing. And even
Honey.
though it's been tough and it's been rough, guess what? The victory is sitting right there waiting on you. I posted something the other day. Um, so many people have the attitude that everybody owes them something. And what I wrote is that you owe yourself your success. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you owe yourself, all of the things that you're looking for somebody to just come along and catapult you into, the realm of success and financial freedom and happiness and all of this stuff. But what most people do is self-cheat because they're sitting around lazy and not engaging and not, really truly affirming themselves and working hard through the muck and the mire. They're sitting around twiddling their thumbs thinking that, okay, yeah, God answers prayers. But what we do know is that faith without works, it ain't going nowhere. Didn't God say that? Yeah, He did. So instead of always waiting around on somebody else to affirm you and to make you feel complete and whole, you owe yourself the very best of every single day. You owe yourself that. And when you grab hold to the tools and the fullness and the measure of the power of who you actually are, again, that liberty that comes with that thing and the opportunities that come inside of all of that, it's absolutely mind blowing. So that's what I wrote, telling people to stop self cheating because when they deny themselves the very best of who they are, they will continue to feel incomplete. They will continue to miss out on, breath snatching opportunities. They will continue to miss out on the full measure of what God has assigned to them and for them. So stop self cheating. I wrote that. I just woke up with that on my heart that morning. And quite a few people sent me inboxes. Girl, you just don't even realize how you impacted me today. Stop self-cheating. Self-cheating. Did you hear what I said? Stop self-cheating. You owe
Oh,
yourself. You owe yourself. So I wake up, I know you got to have partnerships and you got to have interaction and you got to have other stuff. But if you are not straight yourself in the process, it'll never be fully realized. It'll always be mediocre. It'll be haphazard. It'll be by way of. It'll be always less than the fullness of what God intended. And I refuse to live like that. I refuse to let others dictate the greatness that God put in line just for me. What? Who? What? If I come to you and I've done what I'm supposed to do, and then you push back, guess what? I'm not going to just stop there and say, well, that's the end of it. I'll look at you and say, okay, thank you. That was just one door closed, because certainly there are many more. And I'll go. And if you don't open up your door, guess what? I'm going to go around to another door. That's all. That's all. Stop self-cheating. Stop self-cheating.
Stop self-cheating. Oh my God, that was powerful. That was powerful. Oh gosh, listeners, stop self-cheating. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, it's like there's a part of me that's supposed to say, Selah, let's just sit it right there.
Stop self-cheating. And let me take it over here, because I'm all over the place. I keep pulling from everywhere. When I started Epiphany Public Relations, I went to this brilliant attorney, Asa Bell Jr., Reverend Asa Bell Jr., one of the world's most gifted attorneys. And I've told him this before. And I had written down goals that I wanted to accomplish, in my new business. And so I probably had about 25 different things all starting out the gate at one time. And he looked at me and he simply said, draw a circle, make a pie, and put in 25 slices. Now, I want you to look at this pie, and I want you to tell me in one day how you can how can you eat all of the slices of that pie? How can you accomplish all of the goals in that one pie and do things well? It was a simple assessment, but when I looked at that pie and I had 25 slices, and I realized how much time was actually in a day, and that was just one part of my life, it's just like, whoosh, I got it. That light bulb, that epiphany, he hit me upside the head with an assessment that made me have a totally different perspective on how I needed to start my journey. And I have thanked him ever since. He told me, he said, whatever you do, start out with one and then add on. Master the most important, piece in that 25 sliced pie. What's the most important one? What's the one that pierces your heart and your mind and your soul? You start there. And as you accomplish that one, then you pull up another slice, and then you keep adding. But there's no way under the sun that you can start out doing 25 things well all at the same time. It was simple, but I got it, and I have lived by that in my career. And so as a publicist, when I'm talking to a client, that thing, what is that picture that we're going to paint before the world? What is that one thing? Because I learned that as colorful as the world is, still inside of all of the beauty of those colors, what is that one piece? What is that one hue that, really truly steps up and slaps you in the face and makes you excited and makes you dance? So that's what you really want to paint to add to the value of the beauty of the day. Oh, come on here, Terry Spicer. I got to write that one down myself. Come on. What is your hue and what do you add? What is your hue and what do you add to the beautiful color of each day? Woo! Wow.
That is so girl, I'm telling you, Terry Spicer. Don't y'all see now why I want to make sure she was on this podcast? Terry, I'm just in awe of God, and I'm just so grateful that I get to share this over 60 space and high five and shimmy as we just make God proud. And redefine what 60 looks like, because I don't feel older. I feel younger.
No,
I can't explain it.
Yeah, I feel younger. And people keep saying, you don't look a day over 35 or 40. I said, wait a minute, now 35, that's kind of pushing it, but thank you. But but I feel younger. And
I do
too. I feel younger. And the thing of it is, because we found our rhythm, and that we stand flat-footed in confidence, and that we trust, and that we know it's a liberty unlike anything that we can really fully articulate, because we're living inside of God's purpose for our lives. We're living inside of our happy place. We're living inside of, even though, again, the winds that dare, knock us down. Because like 2 years ago, when cancer, and in my charity, we help cancer patients. But when cancer walked into my home uninvited, I can remember turning around and looking at my front door, because I was standing in my living room just up from my foyer. And I never asked God why, but how can this thing, as we help cancer patients, how is it gonna just bust up into our home uninvited? And the point that I'm making in saying this with regard to the liberty and all of that, the winds will certainly come, because they came. And for the first time in my adult life, I found myself speechless. I found myself feeling lost like I never had before. I was in a place of, okay, because I'm a publicist, I fix things. I figure things out. I'm the strategic one. I go into motion in the height of crisis. But when it came into our home, for about 5 good minutes, and that was really it, because it stung and it shocked. And immediately, okay, now my mind took off. I'm going to fix my husband. I'm going to figure out where that cancer came from. I'm going to, in a whoosh, all of this. And I started into action. But I walked around for 6 months as he was on the strongest form of chemo on the planet without anybody knowing it. I cried invisible tears. But my husband, my giant, I write that hashtag, my giant, and in all caps. Giant is in all caps, my giant. I was arrogant enough in this family to believe that I was the faith leader. Okay, I believed, hey, I'm the super Christian. I'm showing my husband and my son how it's done. Okay, yeah. But in the height of that crisis, I found humility like I never had known before. I found faith that I could not have even imagined still existed beyond where I was. And I've had to apologize to God for my arrogance in that, because my giant, that man didn't flinch. He didn't waver. He didn't lose sleep. He didn't get sick. And it was so remarkable. The doctor said they'd never seen anything like him. But this man became a spark of light to the physicians, who said to him, you have really truly come in here and affirmed, our reaffirmed, and really woke up the juices in us to really believe that what we do matters. And he actually was a spark to the other cancer patients and the nurses in Rex Cancer Center, and I can remember one day in particular, tears streamed down his eyes, and I said, oh my gosh, the bottom's about to fall out. What happened? What's the matter? And he said, I feel guilty because I don't feel sick and I don't look sick. And I told him in that moment, after I exhaled, that was his God monumental assignment. God gifted you with this huge assignment because he knew that you would handle it the way that you have. You would handle it faithfully. You would handle it unselfishly. You would handle it with such elegance and eloquence and remarkable fortitude that you would impact the world. And it was my husband's assignment. And he got that. And thank God today, 2 years later, he's cancer free. After 6 months, my husband was cancer free. But when I think back on all that his body went through, because the doctor said it was like his body was running a 500-mile marathon every single day, okay? Because the chemo was so intense. It was so intense. But he handled it like a champ, a giant, that he was able to help grow faith and to help grow a picture before the world of grace and trusting God that even my own eyes had not seen before in that capacity. So my giant taught me things, and I thank God that he gifted us with that assignment, because we truly, truly understand, really, truly now up close and personal, cancer patient, survivor, and caregiver, which is the mantra of the cancer charity that we started, that has now helped 1,268 cancer patients in 16 states and all 100 counties of North Carolina. So I wouldn't change that experience for the world, and the liberty and the freedom, Suzette, that we have. And I'll tell you this, after he finished his last day of treatment, January 24th, 2018, and they told him, go off and into the sunset and live well because you're cancer free. When we got home, we looked at each other and he said, can we just hold it to ourselves for a couple of days before we share it with the world? And I said, we can hold it as long as you want to. And in those moments, it was so precious because, again, my husband and I saw each other in a way that we never looked at each other before. We found ourselves, we found a whole nother realm of love and of trust and of faith. And that God assignment was his. It was mine to help shepherd him through our son, but we walked around. I did many months with invisible tears, but I wouldn't take back not one single moment of the witness that I was able to have to that incredible journey that my husband started so beautifully. I wouldn't take it back for a second. And so because I saw that, and I genuinely trusted God before, but what I saw him allow and what I saw him, girl, my witness, oh my gosh, my witness. I thank God for my witness every single day. So that inspires me, that fuels me. And again, I just happen to believe all of the words of affirmation from when I was a child that rolled right straight up into my life as an adult, my life as a wife to the most incredible bald-headed man on this planet, my life as a mom to the most incredible and handsome son who lives in Atlanta. My witness to the world is for me to just really truly show that I believe God, that I'm sold out, that I'm crazy, I'm funny, I love pearls, I love excellence, without apology. That's my witness to the world.
Oh, what a witness it is. What a witness it is. I'm sitting here on the verge of tears. Oh my God, Terry, thank you so much for sharing that. And happy 7th anniversary.
Thank you.
To the
7 years.
sissy.
7 years. People say, how is your charity? How is your charity successful? Because of all of the things that I just said. Because of all of those things. And so I'm praying to God for, more. And I'll say this to you, in the vision, when I walk into my office, it's on the second floor in this bank building. And right now, when you walk into the right, there was a business there, but they moved out. And when you look through, that area where that business used to be, it's completely empty. But that particular day when I walked in, every single door was wide open. And I saw such symbolism. I stood there and I put my laptop down and I stood there and I saw, the sissy in this space. I saw, people moving. I saw, growth. I saw the future. And God allowed me to see all of this in just a whoosh. So, yeah, I'm sold out. Yeah, I'm crazy enough to believe him. Because again, to whom much is given, I'm going to change it a little bit. Yeah, much is required. To whom much is gifted, gifted. To whom much is given, much is gifted. To whom much is given, much is also gifted. It's given to you, but it's gifted to you. That's the way I see it.
Girl, I can write that down too. It's gifted. It's so
I'm
true.
writing that down.
It is so true. And you have been such a gift to us today. So tell our listeners how they can get in contact with you.
Yeah, you can, I'm all over social media, click on, for my charity, www.thesisi.org. That's the sissy.org. And also click on thesignaturepearl.com. It's a composite of who I am, as a as a professional, as a wife, a mom, a woman who is, helping to bridge future leaders forward. So the sissy.com, the sissy.org, and the signaturepearl.com. Those are my websites, or you can click on epiphanyprnc.com. So, but if you click on the signaturepearl.com, you'll get every single thing. And, but thank you. I'm so honored to have been on your show today. Again, this love fest that we have for one another. I admire your strength and your courage and your fortitude. And I'm glad to be doing 60 with you. You are a beautiful and a remarkable woman. And I pray God's continuous bounty all over every single thing that you touch, that you desire, that you dream, that you will impact. So I'm just glad to be a witness to yours. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Same thing to you. And listeners, just in case nobody has told you, you are worthy, you are worth it. You're more than enough. Bye now. You have just listened to the Enough Factor podcast with your host, Suzette Vernon. To get notified of new episodes or to dig deeper into today's topic, become a subscriber. And while you're at it, tell us how we're doing and what topics you're interested in. We appreciate your feedback and your reviews. Until next time, remember, you are worthy, you are worth it, you are enough.